ridiculous. Well, here's the thing.
Maybe. Sometimes.
Tell me about this. I want to know more.
Oh, yeah. No.
Holy cow.
We've had a lot of fun.
So I think I may have talked here before about the fact that I live on a cul-de-sac right next to a high school, which means that twice a day we are drop-off and pick-up central for parents who must drive to do that for their youngsters. And it's mostly a problem in the afternoon, and it's mostly a problem for me now because I am driving my son to work at a far-off location, and we need to leave at about the same time as everybody is picking their kids up. So it becomes an issue. Can I get out of my street? Can I even get out of my driveway?
Wow.
And we knew the high school was next door when we moved here. We knew there was a traffic problem at pickup time when we moved here. I myself have driven across town to pick my kids up and used neighborhood streets to park on to do that. So I am predisposed to be understanding. But I think that we have a social compact as adults that you don't park in front of somebody's driveway, that you don't park at a stop sign, that you don't block the entrance to a cul-de-sac or the exit, that you don't park in the middle of a lane of traffic to pick up your kids. These are things that we are agreed upon as drivers, right? Those things are not cool. I'm not being nasty. You know, I don't mind if you park in front of my house. That is absolutely fine. I don't mind if you park all up and down my street. I don't mind if the street's a little hard to get up and down because there's people parked neatly close to the curb on both sides. Let's work together. But when you park at a stop sign, I have less visibility to see when I'm turning. If you're parked on the street I'm turning onto all the way to the curb, there is no visibility. It's very dangerous. If you're blocking my driveway, at least watch to see if I'm coming out and move. Don't make me come to your car, knock on the window and say, could you please let me out of my driveway? Yesterday was a half day and my daughter was having to get out of the driveway to get to work. And there was somebody just parked in the middle of the street waiting for their kid. And this was 10 minutes before school left out. There was somebody parked in the middle of the street. And when my daughter kind of pulled out and was like, what are we doing? The person kind of went, oh, I guess I'm parked in the middle of the street, and pulled over in front of somebody's driveway. The other day, there was somebody parked at the stop sign 20 minutes before kids got out. Even, I think, maybe a half an hour before kids got out. There is a whole cul-de-sac full of parking spaces. Why are you parked at the stop sign? I can see, all right, I'm an understanding person. If you're picking your kid up, you see them coming, you stop at the stop sign for a minute, they haul butt and get in your car and you go. I'll let you do that. But you're not parking at a stop sign for half an hour. That's not a parking place. Oh my goodness. And then, of course, when we're trying to come out of the cul-de-sac and there's somebody parked at the parking space and there's somebody parked on the other side, there's really only one lane of traffic and you have people churning in quickly and there's no place for them to go because it's just it's such a dangerous situation and is completely caused by people being selfish and irresponsible. What are you doing? Your kid can't walk 25 steps up the cul-de-sac to an actual parking place? Then maybe you need to get a medical note and pick them up in front of the school. I don't understand what people are thinking. I just do not get it.
Yeah.
The other day there was somebody parked at a stop sign and I was going to say something to them, but the driver wasn't even in the car. There was somebody in the passenger seat talking on the phone, but the driver wasn't even in the car. Parked at a stop sign. What? Am I nuts? Am I picky? Am I being unreasonable?
No, I think you could call the police and tell them to patrol there.
I am very tempted to. It's like I want to go up and knock on their window and say, what are you doing? But I don't want to pick a fight with somebody who knows where I live. So yes, I should call the police.
From the privacy of your home, call the police.
My sister-in-law used to do that all the time when she would come and park in my driveway to pick up her daughter at high school, and she would see people doing that. She would call the police, and I was like, they're going to think it's me. I'm going to be in trouble. I wanted to put a sign in my yard. It wasn't me, because she would just it wasn't even these egregious things. It was just any kind of parking she didn't like. But so you guys think I should call the police on these people? I feel like going out and taking a picture of their license plate.
if it's blocking your driveway, do you have pylons that you can put there?
When we moved into this house, the people who we bought the house from had cement pylons that they put at the end of their driveway.
Wow. Yeah.
Which then you have to haul them in and out if you want to use the driveway yourself. And I thought, well, that's kind of unfriendly. I think it was actually to block people from turning around in their driveway.
Right.
Which, if my car's not there, I don't care. You can turn around in my driveway. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to have the pylons and then have to be moving them around.
But it's a
just
cul-de-sac.
want us to be
Why do you need a
grown-ups.
driveway to turn around in a cul-de-sac? Like, just go around the cul-de-sac.
I know. Mm-hmm. And there's so many spaces up in the cul-de-sac. You could easily drive up to the end of the cul-de-sac, and your healthy young person could walk around to the end of the cul-de-sac and get in your car, instead of you having to park in the middle of the street so they jump in, or you having to park in front of people's drive. This is bad behavior. This is just bad behavior. Mm-hmm. And you know it's bad behavior, you person sitting at the stop sign not making eye contact. And you know it's stupid, you person sitting in the middle of the road and saying, oh, am I a little too far from the curb? Yeah, you're like a car's width away from the curb.
I mean, I don't see an issue with you maybe calling the police and letting them know that the entire cul-de-sac is like... under
it's anarchy over here. We need help.
I know,
they might want to come over and remind people what the traffic etiquette is.
It's not new this year. It's always been this way. They know. From time to time they come over and they scare people, and then people come back. There's a police officer serving as crossing guard by the high school across this wide road.
Wow.
And people I hear this poor police officer yelling at people all the time because they just do not pay any attention. They just turn when they want to turn. They go when they want to go. And so if they're practically running over the police officer who's standing in the middle of the road, I don't think they're too afraid of the one who's going to come and give them a ticket for parking at the stop sign. Mm-hmm. They're just going to roll away as soon as they see him. It's just, I just want to put out a call here for all you parents who use neighborhood streets to pick up your children. Just let's be grown-ups. Let's do unto the people living on the street you're parking on as you would like people to do unto your street. Don't do anything that would raise your blood pressure if somebody did that on your street. Come on. We can work together on this.
Courteous, please.
Right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Right? Don't make me call the cops on you.
No.
We just got a notice from my son's middle school about, like, rules for kids who bike and scooter to school. Because, it's a total zoo around there, too, around his middle school. Like, because there's parochial school right across the street. So, you have that whole one side of the street is completely taken up by their car line. And they're actually very organized over there. Like, they have a line and they have the kid's last name in the windshield, and so they pull up and the kid runs out and they get in and they... Yeah. But yeah, there was a whole thing from the school, like, they can't ride their bikes in the parking lot and they can't... And, if you're driving, please be careful and... Yeah.
Yeah. So. Well, my kids could walk to school from here. It was great, except to cross the main thoroughfare through the parking lot was to take your life in your hands, because people dropping their kids off didn't care, weren't looking, weren't trying to, and, they're high schoolers. You don't want a crossing guard across this little area. Right. But I kept saying, people, if you hit a kid, you're going to be late to work. Just stop for a second. And I even asked the administration, can you put out a memo? Please look out for children trying to walk to school and reduce the traffic. Every child walking to school is a car that is not blocking your way. Why not let them live? Is all we're saying.
It's not that hard.
Try not killing them before school even starts.
Exactly. It's going to make another speed bump and it's going to slow you down. Just let the child dart across the road, will you please?
One of my daughter's friends who went to a different high school got in not one but 2 accidents in the parking lot of the school. Like little fender benders, but it's just... they're high schoolers. They're just learning how to drive, so it's like risky anyway. Yeah.
Well, the high school has all these signs up that are new this year, all along the sidewalk in front of the school and around the sides that say, no idling zone. And I'm like, oh, those are cute.
Yeah, that'll go over well.
Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. You bet.
Well, I tried to pick up my son from school the other day because he's been walking. I've been making him walk to and from school. Mm-hmm. But the other day it was raining, and so I thought, well, I'm going to get a text that says, can you please come get me because it's raining? Mm-hmm. So I decided to proactively just go over there and
because you're such a good mom.
Pick him up.
So nice and thoughtful.
And so I'm sitting there waiting for him in a parking place, and I see him start approaching the car, and he's making the gesture like, what are you doing? Why are you here? Like, shoulders shrugged, angry face.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'm
I'm
trying to keep you dry, but okay. And he got in the car, and he's like, what are you doing here? Like, well, it's raining. I came to get you. Well, Josie was going to come get me, and now she can't. That was his. He wanted to be picked up by his sister, not by his mother. So, I will make that mistake again.
You made a big assumption,
That's
didn't
right,
you?
and you know what they say. Yep.
I know it's exciting for the teenager to drive and have new driving experiences, but you need to sit her down and say, honey, school pickups are not something you want to rush into. It's like, you will have many, many, many of these in your life.
Yes.
Don't do it now for your brother.
No.
Don't you have better things to do than to sit breathing exhaust, fighting other
Well,
parents
by
for
the
space?
time she'd get there, he'd be standing there by himself. Like,
in the rain.
Everybody else would be long gone. Because her school ends after his, and
really,
it's across town. Yeah. Just like
here the
5 minutes or something.
Yeah.
But
here the high school gets out first, and then everybody else is after that.
Here it goes like first elementary, then middle.
Really? Mm-hmm. Exactly the opposite. Well, now that I've got that rant out of my system, be cheerful and nice for the whole rest of the podcast. Hello and welcome to Parenting Roundabout, a weekly podcast about the things that parents are talking about, obsessing about, and complaining about right now. I'm Terri Morrow, and with me today are Nicole Eridix.
Hello.
And Catherine Haleko.
Hello.
Today on the podcast, which you can listen to in your car as you sit waiting for your child in a legal parking space, we are going to talk about pop-up playgrounds on our speed round. We are going to shout out some stuff we like on the Roundabout Roundup, and we are going to do some shameless self-promotion. But first, big kids and big decisions.
Yes. As our kids get bigger, it seems like the decisions they have to make get a lot bigger. And the problem is that they have to make them. We don't get to make them for them.
Yes.
And sometimes they just ignore our wonderful sage advice, even though the decisions they make affect us. So, Nicole, this has been going on in your house. Tell us what's happening.
Yes.
Well, yeah, just when you think your parenting days are over, just when you think, okay, I've, raised them, got them through high school, got them into college, got them through college, hopefully on their path towards a career, then all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah.
The bottom, the floor drops out.
They keep moving that finish line.
Yeah,
you have another marathon to run.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to be doing this right now. You need to be doing this. So my son, who has graduated with a college degree and had all sorts of plans mapped out for himself, has done a whole 180 on us, and
oh dear,
it's just essentially back to square one. He doesn't want to do what the initial plans were. He has gotten himself into relationship that, was probably a good idea that they ended it, but now he's back in it.
Uh-oh.
So it just it's all these decisions, and we're just looking at it. My husband and I are just looking at each other going, like, how do you say, I mean, he knows that we have alternate sage advice for him. And we're very vocal about it, but he just continuously, wants to make his own choices and decisions, and even says to me, I need to learn from my own mistakes. Like, yeah.
All right, now, is he
mistakes.
still living at home?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you still taking care of his animals?
Yes.
Are you still paying for any schooling he's going to do or anything he's going to do? My feeling is if you want to make your own mistakes, get your own apartment, get a job that's going to pay for things, and then go crazy. I think
we're coming to that point where, like, we don't want to be the parents that don't want you to come back here and live. Like, we want to have you feel like you can come back here when you need to. Right. But at the same time, you're kind of not upholding your end of the bargain. Like, you don't contribute really in any way. In fact, you leave.
You contribute extra animals.
Exactly. And extra laundry and extra dishes. And like, there's no responsibility. And so it's hard because I don't know if like, we just need advice and input on the situation because, so if we tell him to go get his own apartment, then he's going to have to work full time and he won't be able to study for what he needs to study for, or, have time to go back to school.
Are you paying for his school?
No, not. We're done. Like we did a little bit for his undergrad, but for graduate school, no, God, no, he's on his own. But there's, if he wants to go to graduate school, he's going to have to write his GRE, and he's going to have to, or he'll have to look at maybe doing his MCAT, and so that requires some time on his part. And he just is not willing to do that. So I feel
he's
like,
changed his mind about getting the degree?
Well, he knows he needs to get it. He just doesn't want to put the work into it. And I feel like we're enabling him by keeping him at home. Well, this is becoming a therapy session.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't want to give any details that are inappropriate, but it's easier to know. So can you tell us anything about what his plan is that he wishes to pursue that you don't agree with?
Well, he doesn't, it's not that I don't agree with it. It's just that I feel like he's putting off the inevitable. So his plan was to come back home, study, work part-time. We said work part-time because we know you need to study.
Right.
And he was going to write the MCAT, which is the entrance to medical school exam in January. Yeah. Well, he's wasted 5 months, flip-flopping, wondering what he's going to do with his life, wondering, he finally got himself a part-time job, and then he's got all this extra time to study. But now he's decided that, other things are more important in his life, such as old relationships. And now wants to push back the test to April. And I'm like, dude.
Well, at the same time, not really working full time or doing anything else other than just...
And then driving around in our car that we're, making payments on. And we're subsidizing his living in terms of food and laundry and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like,
But then when you have an opinion, it's, I'm an adult. I have to make my own decisions.
Exactly. And
can I have some money for gas?
I need to learn from my own mistakes. And so... I don't know what the alternative is because I don't want to force him into poverty by having him move out. And but at the same time, it's like by staying here, we're enabling. He has all this free time to go in, which he was supposed to use to study, but now he's going off and using it to, pursue other interests.
That is a problem.
So. Any advice?
So if he were to put off taking the test from January to April, does that then delay going back to school for like another year? I mean,
yeah,
would
because
he then...
if he doesn't do well on that exam, he's going to have to wait another 3 months to write it, and then
take it again.
Then the prime time for putting your application in for med school is passed.
Right.
So he's only giving himself one shot.
Is he wavering in whether he really wants to do that?
Well, yeah, I mean, every day.
That's a huge commitment and a huge time.
Huge.
I mean, that's his life for the next, 7 years?
And you know what? He wants to do it, but he doesn't want to sacrifice. And that's the big issue.
Well,
he doesn't want to give up his good times and his party times. And he's only 22. And I know that, he still needs to mature a lot. But at the same time, it's like, you got to figure out your life pretty quick,
Yeah, that's too bad that he does. But you don't want to get started on that unless you're absolutely 100% sure and feeling driven to do that, because it's not an easy road. Maybe there's something he wants to do that would not require a medical degree. There's
he's not coming up with anything else. This is not, this has all been his decision, but we've even said to him, if this isn't something you want to do, like, find an alternative, and he hasn't. He's not coming up with anything else. So yeah, it's really, we're kind of feeling him in kind of a rock and a hard place. My husband's like, that's it. He's got to grow up. He can move out and and learn to stand on his own 2 feet. And I'm like, yeah, great. But that's not really helping either. So,
well, I mean, I think you could certainly say that if you're not doing the test, then we would like you to contribute this much to the household for staying here.
Yeah.
And then he has to have some sort of job for that. It'll be cheaper than being on his own, but it will still give him some responsibility. You know, if you want to be an adult, dude, here you go.
Yeah, that's right. If you want to be an adult. Well, and I mean, the thing is that we welcomed him back under, certain conditions and expectations, and he's not, keeping up his end of the bargain, so to speak.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. It'd be so much easier if you didn't love them.
Right.
and want them to be happy. If they were just tenants, you could just kick out on their butt.
If he was a stranger, he would have gotten a boot weeks ago.
I want you to be safe. I love you. I want you to be in my life. I want to be able to control you to a certain extent.
Right.
And so therefore, it limits your options, doesn't it?
It does, because we're not the hardcore parents that, that's it. You're done. You're on your feet. You got to deal with it, right? That's just not how. I don't know if there's a type of parent for that name to give that
tough love.
Tiger bomber.
I bet somebody's named that kind of parent for sure.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's just it's wearing thin.
Yes,
like, your time here is wearing thin.
Yes,
do something.
That is very hard when you see your kid making a decision that you think is wrong, but you don't really have a place to change it. No. You have certain, areas in which you can exert influence, but, there's consequences to implementing that. You don't really want him to say, okay, fine, and then move out. But at the same time,
right. I don't want to create negativity or that's not our intention to.
You're too Canadian for that.
Me saying I'm sorry the whole time as I'm moving him out. I'm sorry I have to do this to you. I'm so sorry. But yeah, it's tough because there are so many things that we don't have influence over anymore, but at the same time, he still needs guidance. He's not quite there.
Well, and what is it? The prefrontal cortex or whatever, the brain, he's still not an adult.
Right.
In that part of his brain, even though he thinks he is.
No, he's not.
Yeah. With kids with disabilities, when they come of age, there's always a lot of talk about whether you should get I'm blanking on what the name of it is, but basically a document saying you get to make all their decisions. Guardianship.
Right.
Is this guardianship? And I certainly see the value of that. There are certainly, young people with intellectual or developmental disabilities who really just should not have the responsibility to do that. And, with my kids, though, I felt like I don't want to say you are not competent to make your own decisions.
Right.
I, therefore, will make all your decisions for you. I want them to be able to make their own decisions. I want them to learn to, and yet at the same time, when you have kids who are very vulnerable and maybe not, don't have good defenses against people taking advantage of them, there's always a danger. Somebody will steal from them. Somebody will hurt them. Somebody will try to take over their lives if you don't. And I try to be really vigilant. Fortunately, I have a good relationship with my kids and they live home and I can keep a pretty close eye on things. And I believe they would always include me in their decisions. I don't believe they would ever go off and do something without me, but it's always a risk. And, you know, not just for kids. I think there's a lot of typical parents who might feel that, is there a document I could make my kids sign so that I could make all their decisions? That sounds pretty good. They don't get to do anything without me. I can control their bank account. Yes. Where do I sign up for this? So it's like, you know, it sends the wrong message, I think. But at the same time, even typically developing kids are not entirely ready to make life-determining decisions at 20, 21, 22, 23.
Right.
You know, they do need the guidance from their parents. And there's not really there needs to be a intermediate zone of responsibility. Like when you're 21, we give you, you know, a key or two. We do not give you all the keys. We still keep you under supervision for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely changes things. That's for sure. I don't know. With your daughter getting older, Catherine, maybe you're sensing that stuff's around the corner, or maybe not. I don't know. Where are you at with her?
Yeah, well, I mean, she's a junior now, so it's definitely time to start thinking about and talking about college. And I had to laugh because yesterday she was signing up for a test. She was registering online for a test, and she kept sending me screenshots. Well, first she said, can I put you down for the parent? And I said, I guess so. That was my response. Like, unless you have, I don't know. It just made me laugh that she asked me that. And then, she's sending me screenshots like, what do I answer? How do I answer this? How do I answer that? And, it's just like, well, if you're smart enough to take the test.
Is she doing the SAT?
Yes. This is for the ACT. Yeah, she's gonna, and I said, you know, doesn't your school do it in the spring? Because I know that they basically sign up the entire junior class for the ACT in June, and they give them, you know, the whole school to themselves. No one else comes to school just so they can take it. Yeah. And I said, don't you have that? And she said, yeah, but I just want to practice. And, you know, that one they like send the scores in no matter what. So what if they're not good? And I said, well, you know, you could just practice from the book. Like, you don't have to take the test, but I wasn't going to stop her if she, you know, really wanted to take the test. Pressure. I know. Yeah. And her pressure is going to be if she wants to skate in college, and will she make the team? Right. Which is probably going to be harder than getting into college. I mean, you know, there's so many different options for college. You can find one that you can fit into and that you can get into, but you can't necessarily just say, I'm going to be on this team, and then they say, okay, sure, we'll see you. We'll see you in a couple months. So,
right. I don't know. That's hard. Yeah. Also, with older kids, you know, there is the issue of where they're living. The fact that he's living at home puts it a little more on your plate than if he was off on his own. Yes. I know, like when I was that age, I mean, after college, I went immediately to Kansas City and I was living by myself. I had been living in an apartment in college by myself, and I was in charge of everything. I had to be in charge of everything. I made all my own decisions. My parents didn't know what I was doing. And then for a while after that, I moved back home for a little while, and I did not like being under anybody else's supervision. And
it's
so
hard.
I got I had enough work that I was able to move out and get an apartment in the same town. So, if you're gonna, it's like, if you want to make your own decisions, then go and be independent, but you don't get to have it both ways to some degree.
Yeah.
Because your decisions impact on, if you're living home, your decisions impact on other people.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's not always an appreciated thing. Then on the other hand, my kids are just completely happy to not be independent and to have me make, everything. I have to push them out. Go, do things. Take this. Fill out this form by yourself, will you please? But at least they're not, saying, back off, Mom, and when are you making me dinner? So, they don't want me to back off all that much.
Yeah.
But you are in a difficult situation because he wants it both ways.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely a tough call. And of course, he just, he's definitely been my more challenging older one. He was very easy when he was younger, but as he's gotten older, it's funny kind of how that works, right?
Yeah.
Tend to,
I also think, it sounds like you and your husband are pretty aligned on this, but you could have a serious difference of opinion, and then that makes it even 10 times worse.
Oh yeah.
One of my friends was telling me about how her oldest, he came home after college and he kind of, puttered around for a couple of months, and her husband was like, his dad, of course, October 1st, you need a full-time job or you will be moving out.
Yeah.
And she was on the side like, wait, what? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And she was totally freaked out. And, it starts getting closer to the end of the month. The dad's like, what are you doing? Do you have a plan? And he started packing his stuff. Toward very end of September, he starts packing his stuff. She's like, he got a job on like September 30th.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
And now he's going to law school. So, it all worked out. But
yeah, it's just tough getting there. I mean, because I was when I went to school, I was in a situation where my degree allowed me to get a job right out of school. So I went from school right away to work, and there wasn't a lot of downtime in between. It just immediately channeled into a teaching job. And so I was able to kind of, I went home, I think, for 2 months, and then I secured my job, and of course it was paying enough for me to live away from home. And so I did. So I guess I just really left the nest.
Yeah.
Early as compared to a lot of these kids. And so for my son, it's a little different because he did get a degree, but it doesn't channel into a job right away. He has to figure out what his next step is. And that's something my husband and I are not familiar with, because my husband also had a job or a degree that he went and got a job with right away. So this whole kind of, figuring out what your next step is
right.
new to us. It's foreign to us.
Yeah.
And so how much time do we give him to figure that out? So, yeah.
It's difficult.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, kind of makes you look back at those days when you had little kid problems with affection, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I remember when I thought that was a big problem. I would like to have that problem back, please.
I know, right?
I would not like to have the problem of them not sleeping back, though. I gotta say.
No, that's true.
That is true. That is true.
Little kid problems are annoying in their own ways.
Yes.
We should not discount them.
But it's true. They are definitely a different story than the big kid problems.
Yes, they are.
You don't know what you got till it's gone.
So speaking of little kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you heard about these pop-up playgrounds that are happening around the country?
I have not. Tell us what those are.
So I was reading a couple of articles recently, and in the interest of letting kids be creative and free-spirited and play, various, I guess, I don't know if it's individuals or organizations are bringing, I guess, not so conventional items for the kids to play with, for example, or that you would see on a playground. So, for example, like moving boxes and different types of arts and crafts and just various things that kids can use to create and build with, and just kind of rather than just the traditional playground.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, these are becoming quite popular in and around, our playgrounds. So it's kind of.
Have you actually
interesting.
seen one of these, and have you seen children in it?
No,
This sounds to me like the sort of thing that adults think is cool, and kids would rather just have the swing and the play.
Well, I don't know, because kids kind of like the boxes.
Yeah, I can see it. Like they like to build forts and even on my kids' elementary school playground. Like think about when it snows. And all they do is build forts and walls and, places to hide and stuff. That's all they do when there's snow. So I think if they had other materials, boxes and old 2x4s or whatever, they would build stuff. I think they do with some of these parks. Safe. I think they do have stuff like that now that I know what you're talking about, Nicole.
Yeah, they do, like crates. And so I'm just looking at this one particular site. It's in Denver, and it's a child-led free play with recycled, repurposed materials at a pop-up adventure playground. So, and they just take these materials and throw them down on the ground and say, "Go play, kids," which is kind of like you said. I mean, kids. I think they would a lot of them would really enjoy that.
I am skeptical.
Yeah.
It sounds Terri, like an artificial free-range experience. What the kid wants to do is roam the neighborhood and find the 2x4s with rusty nails sticking out of them and crawl into the cardboard refrigerator box or possibly the refrigerator in front of the neighbor's yard. That's what kids want to do. Here it's like, we have these specially designed, perfectly healthy things here for you kids, and the kids are going to be going and getting the boxes that the pop-up playground came in and crawling in those.
See, Terri, you were the kid who would just be like, well, this is dumb. I'm going to go read my book over here. So you can't appreciate.
I am totally that kid. I got in trouble in elementary school for sitting off in the side at recess and reading a book and not playing on the playground.
Yeah.
So,
you are not the target audience.
All right, talk amongst yourselves. I will sit over here and
I mean, I could see my son would have loved that. I mean, he used to go when he was a little boy. We lived on the edge of a forested area, and he and his friends, they were allowed about 3 feet into the forest, and they would play for hours back there, like with branches and tree, all sorts of things that they could find and rustle up, and they'd build forts and. I mean, my son would love that stuff.
All right. Let me ask another question and then I'll shut up.
Okay.
Are these pop-up playgrounds by appointment? Can you say, my son and his friends would like to come and play with these items in a way they wish to play with them? Or is it any kid gets to come and then who gets to decide who gets the coolest box? Who gets to decide how we build these boxes?
That's how they learn to problem solve.
That's how they learn.
Yeah, let me tell you, the biggest kid is the one who's going to decide. And then people are, it's fraught. I find it to be fraught.
You find a lot in your
voice.
I want all the neighborhood kids to go to the cool pop-up playground, and then my son can go and sit on the swings and swing for 2 hours without anybody asking him to get off. That is the way I would deal with this.
On this swing.
Yes, exactly. My little proprioceptive seeker who wants to swing and swing and swing and swing would not have to get off to let somebody else on because they'd be all playing with the politically correct pop-up playground. Go, you go.
Politically correct.
It's excellent. It's excellent. It's a bunch of hipsters putting together toys for kids that they think they'll like.
Yeah. Now that we've established what a pop-up playground is and exactly its purpose and maybe not so wonderful purpose. What if you were to create a pop-up playground for adults, what do you think that would look like, or what would you want to see? Because for the kids,
adults.
We talked about, the types of materials that are brought to the kids. But what about adults? Like if you could have a pop-up playground for adults, what do you think that?
Well, there needs to be an unsweetened iced tea dispenser.
Of course.
Isn't that basically what like food trucks are, right? It's pop-up
food trucks. That sounds like a good idea. Food trucks and some pillows for us to sit on.
Yeah.
They get nasty after a while. I don't know.
There needs to be shade.
Nice benches would be fine. Nice park benches and a food truck that was free. And
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yes. Really, any Wi-Fi area is now a pop-up playground for adults.
It really is. We were so appalled yesterday when our doctor's office did not have Wi-Fi. Like, what? It's like a human right now to have Wi-Fi. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Remember when we were talking a couple weeks ago about little free libraries? There should be one there so that in case you didn't bring a book and you don't have one
will
on your
be
phone,
provided for you.
You could get one there. I think some swings, like some porch swing type swings.
Love those. How about a porch?
That would be nice.
What about just like a big porch?
Yeah, because then you get shade.
Yeah.
That would be
good. Definitely some soft music playing in the background. Like peaceful, kind of relaxing.
I don't know. That stuff puts me to sleep.
That's okay. You can take a nap in the pop-up playground.
Yes, there have to be places to nap in the pop-up playground. Definitely. A no child entry policy. Because if I'm trying to get away from my child, that means that I don't want to be near your child either. So please leave your kids out.
You know what's like my equivalent of a pop-up playground? And this is the sort of thing I would want if such a thing were going to be. And it already exists, so it doesn't need to be. But I like to just go to a library. Lots of different places to sit without having to actually interact with people.
Right.
Usually climate comfortable. You know, there's books there if you want them. You can bring your own book. Nobody's going to say, hey, what are you doing here? I've been taking my son to work at a town about half an hour away from us, and sometimes I've been staying there to take him home, and there was a library nearby, and it's just so lovely. There's a bunch of different ways to sit, so I can sit in one place for a while, then go sit in a different place for a while. Downstairs, there's some tables and a vending machine, so I can get a snack, and I can sit in a place where I can talk on the phone. That's like my adult playground. Just a nice place. There's plenty of room, so you don't have to worry, what if other people are going? Am I going to be able to get where I want? There's tables, there's chairs, there's room for everybody. It's just a chill place. You know, if I want to listen to music, I can pop in my headphones. If I want some exercise, I can take a walk around the parking lot. It's my complete playground experience.
Happiness.
And it already exists.
There you
Taxpayer funded. There
No
it
one
is.
has to build it.
Anywhere you go, pretty much any city you go to, find the public library. Go hang.
Yep.
Doesn't that sound nice? I want to kind of go there now. I go there even when I'm not waiting for him. I just go there for like a half an hour just to feel like I'm with the people. Just to be out in the world. And then I get back in my car. But that would be my equivalent of a pop-up playground, I think.
Yeah, I just kind of want more. Books aren't enough.
Well, you enjoy being with people, so that would be the difference.
Well, I don't, not necessarily, not all the time. I think I would need a few shopping stalls that I could just meander around in and have a look at some unique little things. That would be my anyway. Yeah.
Once we get into more mall-y type things like that, or more restaurant-y things and stuff, then I have a crowd control problem, because other people are going to be there too. And how do we know we get to do what we want to do in peace? So then it would have to be a pop-up playground by appointment only.
Right, and there's the expectation that you're going to spend money.
Exactly, and that's not fun. So we just, we join the pop-up playground association.
Right.
And then we are allotted a time when we can come and enjoy.
What about the pop-up playground timeshare?
There you go. That's it. Would
that work?
Yes.
Okay.
I would take it on a timeshare basis.
Okay.
and also I think that would be good for the kids as well. That you schedule and you have the pop-up playground these hours. You and your friends can come and play together and enjoy all this cool stuff and not have to worry about having life experiences of playing nice with others. You play nice with the people you already know.
Right.
There are many, many opportunities to learn the other stuff.
Right.
At my pop-up playground, I want my kid to be able to play with his kids' friends who will let him do what he wants to do with the boxes.
There you go.
There you go. See, we've solved it.
Yes.
The secret is not having to associate with just the general public.
Keep it
Unless
away.
they're being quiet in the library, in which case, okay.
Wow. And Catherine, you have no strong preferences for anything else? No ice skating rink? No hockey rink?
No, I
think
get
Catherine needs more ice skating rink in her
I
life.
get plenty of that in my regular life, so no, I'm good.
So you're good. Awesome. Well, I think that's it then for this portion of our podcast. And remember, you can hear a new speed round every Wednesday through Friday. Hi, we hope you're enjoying this episode of Parenting Roundabout. We're not one of those podcasts that's trying to sell you websites or mattresses or meal kits. I mean, we totally would, but no one's asked us yet.
There is, however, something you can do that costs you nothing, but will put a little change in our pockets. Listen to our podcast on the Radio Public app. Download the app to your iPhone or Android device and listen to Parenting Roundabout there, and we'll get paid for each listen. Plus a little more if you listen a lot.
We think you'll enjoy listening to all your podcasts on this app, but if you could at least listen to Parenting Roundabout there, we'd be very grateful. Now, back to the episode. And now we're going to bring you some of the things we've read or seen or used recently that we want to shout out and share with you. Catherine, what do you have this week?
Well, I'm going to steal something that Terri did a little while ago, which is Weight Watchers. She brought it up, and actually right around the time that she brought it up, I had just started doing it myself, and I was not ready to speak it aloud, but now it's been a little while, and it gets going well, and
Good.
So I wanted to mention it.
Congratulations.
You know, I hate food diaries. I hate tracking my food, and I have resisted it for so long, but I've been keeping up with it with this. And I think there's a couple of reasons why. One is that there are a lot of foods that you don't have to track because they are 0 points. So you can just eat them and not have to worry about how much you're eating or writing it down. So I think that is a big factor in why it's easier for me to do it than times I've tried in the past. And also they do have the scanner so that you can always scan a barcode on whatever you're eating, and you can usually find it in their database, and if not, you can add it to the database for the next person who comes along. So that has been very handy. So the
tools are very nice.
Good old Weight Watchers.
And I have also found that as much as I resist it, writing stuff down works.
Yeah.
Or in the case of the app, entering into the app, it makes it a lot easier to enter into the app and stuff like that. It's like every time I go off Weight Watchers and I say, you know what, I just kind of know what I can eat. It always, I always go back. And as soon as I start doing that, it works. So, well, I'm glad it's working out for you. That's good.
Yeah, so far it is. So.
Yeah, me as well. So, Nicole, what are you sharing with us this week?
Well, I just had the most delicious roast the other night.
Ooh.
And
I had roast last night, too.
Yeah, it was it was a tri-tip roast. And I bought it from Costco last weekend. And it was so flavorful. I cooked it up. I paid attention to the temperature of the meat, which I don't normally do. But I paid attention. I did it all the right way. And I cooked it up. And was it ever good? Like, I mean, you know, tri-tip isn't like the greatest cut of meat, but it was just so, you know, nicely seasoned. And I don't know. It was just a great meal. And then we added some corn on the cob and mashed potatoes and salad, and we were good to go.
So you eat corn? Corn is an acceptable vegetable?
Of course, corn is acceptable,
Because it's not really
Lots
a
of butter on
vegetable. It's a
It's
grain.
not really a vegetable. It's not green.
It is more like a grain, if you ask me, than a vegetable.
A starch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you said salad. Did you eat the salad, or just other people in your home ate the salad?
I would eat a salad if I had a salad there, yeah. Unless
Does it have
was
lots of creamy dressing on it or something?
Kale in it or something. Oh my goodness, I forgot to tell you last week.
Yeah.
My neighbor stopped by. She works at Luna Grill. I don't know if you have those out there, but anyway, it's all this super healthy eating food stuff.
Yeah.
She came by with a big box of kale that they did not need at the restaurant.
And you said, get that abomination away from me. You are not welcome here.
I'm like, I don't like kale, but I don't want to be rude. So I took a handful thinking, well, maybe I'll try it. And then, of course,
Kale chips.
That didn't happen. So anyway, I'm definitely a meat eater, and that's why I am shouting out the tri-tip from Costco if you're looking for a meal.
Excellent.
That's what I would recommend.
Well, I'll say for my roundup item, I think I mentioned this on round 2, but I don't think I've mentioned it here. My latest Audible listen was a book called The Sky Below by Scott Parazynski, who is an astronaut. And he narrated it himself, and it was a very enjoyable listen, a very inspiring sort of story about all his adventures in space and in, you know, climbing Everest or trying once and then succeeding once and various other adventurous things he did all through his life. He had a very interesting upbringing in all different parts of the world. I very much enjoyed listening to it, and he seemed like a very likable guy. I was interested in his story, interested in all the things he did. So if you're interested in a biography of an astronaut, if that's something you think you would enjoy, I definitely recommend it. I also think that it's useful on another level, which is that if you have a husband such as mine who, say, spends a lot of time sitting on the sofa watching old TV shows, it might be good for you to reflect that you could have a husband who goes and spends several weeks in space, risking his life in various dramatic ways, then comes home and takes out a second mortgage on your house so that he can go climb Mount Everest. Makes my guy sitting in his underwear on the couch seem a lot better. I'm like, sweetie, thank you for being here on Earth at near sea level and not taking a mortgage out on our house so that you can go endanger your life again in a different way. So, it's a healthy balance. You can be inspired by somebody doing something and saying, thank God I don't have to be married to him. So anyway, an enjoyable book.
Wow.
Excellent. Well, now for our final segment, we're going to do a little shameless self-promotion and direct you to some things on our sites or elsewhere in the world that we think you should take a look at. For mine, I'm going to mention another piece at Highlights. It is about outdoor learning and specifically how taking kids outside for a lesson in school actually helps improve their behavior when they get back inside. So that was kind of a fun, interesting little piece of research. So that is over at Highlights, and we will link to it. Terri, what do you have?
Well, yeah, I'm back on I will try to have a blog post up by the time this podcast drops. I did not succeed in doing that last week, but I didn't really promise one last week.
No,
so this week I am. Check out Parenting Isn't Pretty. See if I came through by Tuesday or so. It should be there.
Right. And how about you, Nicole? What do you have today?
I don't really have a lot going on in the online department of my life or the blogging, or I've just been really busy working on these presentations I have coming up, which I've already mentioned. So I would just like to remind people that I have a book that they can go and purchase. It's on sale. It's called Inclusion in Action, Practical Strategies to Modify Your Curriculum. And check that out, because if you're attending one of my conferences or my presentations, that's really what it's going to be about, is the book. So
Great.
There you go.
Good.
And it's available on Amazon.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Parenting Roundabout. We hope you enjoyed it and that you'll join us every week. You can listen to podcast episodes on Radio Public or download them from Apple Podcasts. Please subscribe so that you get all of our podcasts and mini podcasts.
You can also follow us on Twitter, where I am at Nicole Erdix, Catherine is at C. Haleko, and Terri is at Momitude. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter at Roundabout Chat, and look for us on Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, YouTube, and Instagram too.
Best of all, stop by our podcast page at parentingroundabout.com and read recaps, find links on everything we've mentioned, and talk back in the comments. Thanks to John Morin at johnjmorin.com for providing our in and out music. And I wish everyone a great week.